This video is for anybody who's thinking about becoming an arborist but may not know how. We're going to talk about 4 different ways you can get a job and get qualified. I've worked as an arborist now for 11 years, primarily here in the UK, but I have worked in Canada, Sweden and Germany as well. And for the last 5 years I've actually run my own company, and we now have 9 employees including myself and my business partner. So out of those 9 employees, we've got 4 apprentices that are just at the end of their apprenticeship now and 2 trainees. So I feel like I've got some good experience and insights to share with you. If you learn something by the end of this video, then just do us a favour, please give us a like and a subscribe, because I'm planning on doing a lot more tree related content that might help you with your career. So keep watching to the end of the video if you want to find out what I would personally do if I wanted to get into the industry from scratch. So the first of the 4 ways into the industry is an apprenticeship. Now the way it works is that you generally go to college for 1 day every fortnight. This is how it worked for us, for our apprentices anyway, and you obviously combine the rest of it with on-the-job training. One misconception of an apprenticeship is that you have to be a certain age to do it, but although a lot of apprentices tend to be younger, there's actually no upper age limit. You can do it as long as it's affordable for you to do so. 95% of the training is paid for here in the UK at least by the government, and 5% by the employer. So you actually get about £15,000 worth of training. The cost to you as an apprentice is basically zero, except for the fact you may need to travel to and from the college. Another advantage of this is that you have a clear development plan. So over the 2 years, there's a set amount of training that you will receive, absolute guaranteed. At the end of that 2-year period, you will be a fully qualified, bona fide arborist. Some of the downsides of it, and there are some downsides, is that you do need to expect that you might be on a lower wage than what you would have been if you could be in a full-time job. We lose our apprentices 1 day every fortnight, but we also lose them for when they go on those training sessions. So the £15,000 worth of tickets that you get, this just means that you spend a lot of time not actually at work, and to counterbalance that, your employer will probably have to pay you a lower wage to justify the apprenticeship. So you have to accept that this is a period of your life that you're just training and developing yourself, not necessarily making the big bucks. The next one is a traineeship. I guess it's just if you are being a trainee within a company, there's no set amount of training unless the employer's outlined it to you what you will receive within a certain frame of time. The employer actually pays for 100% of that training as opposed to 5% that they did on the apprenticeship. So you can imagine that they're just not going to be paying for the same amount of tickets as what you would get on that apprenticeship. I would imagine you would get all your basic stuff, your chipper, chainsaw felling, climbing, things like that, but all the extra little bits and bobs that you do get with the apprenticeship, I would imagine most companies in the first 2 years won't be able to afford to pay for you. You will also be probably held to those financially. So if you leave that company within a certain period of time, it might be written in the contract that you have to pay those tickets back. I would say in general you would probably get a bit of a higher wage as a trainee versus an apprentice, so it might be a slightly better option in the short term at least for someone that has more responsibilities at home. It could be slower progression based on the company's needs. Obviously if it's a company that just does a lot of domestic work, then you might find that the training progression is quite slow, but you get a lot of on-the-job training, which is obviously priceless. If you're working for more of a commercial company, then you might find that they need to get you through those tickets quicker, but the problem with that could be that you get too qualified too quickly, and you've got big holes in your game. Like, you could get put through your climbing tickets. I've seen this quite often. Companies put people through the climbing tickets because they're desperate for a climber, but they haven't really developed properly as a groundsman yet to make themselves into a good climber. You do get a lot of on-the-job experience, which I think is, to be honest, by far the best kind of experience you can have. You learn far more from being on the job than you do at college or anything, in my opinion. The third option is to go full-time at college. So this might be most applicable to anyone that's quite young, who doesn't really have any financial commitments to pay for, and can afford to go to college 3 or 4 days a week. It'll be a nice easy 2 years of your life, I should think, until you get to the end of the course, but I don't think it will fully prepare you for the realities of tree work, which is you've got to work in the rain, sleet, snow, wind, heat. It doesn't matter. Generally speaking, arborists don't have many days off. I'm not entirely sure, there's certainly nothing around us, how many colleges, there definitely are colleges that do this kind of training, but there's not that many of them. So it's kind of anything that's immediately around that area, you might find a lot of pupils coming through this route, but for the most part there's not really that much going on around the UK where people can just go to college. Our apprentices still have to travel for an hour, so if they were having to do that every day, it might not be quite as appealing anyway. Fourth and the final option into the industry is to do it yourself, which is what I did because there wasn't an apprenticeship available when I was looking to become an arborist. So this option means that you have the benefit of working self-employed, whereas generally speaking, if somebody's going to pay for your tickets, like in a traineeship, or you're going to go on an apprenticeship, generally speaking, is you'd have to be employed by the company that's doing it. You won't rely on anybody else to progress your career. So if you were quite savvy with your money and you put it all back into your little business, then you could progress yourself as fast as really you wanted to go. The other side of this, if you are working self-employed, is you might not be taken under the wing of someone as you would be if you was their apprentice. So I think a lot of the in-house, on-the-job training, people wouldn't bother wasting their time giving it to you because you think, well, he's not really, there's no point. The other thing is it's expensive. To get yourself to a high-level arborist in the UK, you're going to have to spend quite a lot of money. And you might be able to charge more on a job site than you would as an apprentice, but as I say, while you're building your career, the main focus would be to get the knowledge and develop your skill set. So if I was to start again, definitely I would look for a company that's offering an apprenticeship. If they're not offering an apprenticeship, then you could possibly just ask if you could have some more informal work, like on a self-employed basis, for say 3 months or so, and prove yourself, because if you go and work for somebody for a smaller amount of time like that, A, you'll learn whether tree work is actually for you or not, because you don't want to commit to something that you actually don't like in the end, but B, you might have a bit more leverage once you prove yourself to somebody, say, look, I want to be an apprentice. Then they might just say, right, well, yeah, you've earned your stripes now and we'll give you the shot and we'll look into it. So contact as many companies locally to you as you can. Say that you're interested in doing some trial tree work. You know, if you get a good relationship with a couple of companies or one company in particular, just work for them, because a lot of it is how you fit into the team and how you get on with who you're working for. You know, the mentorship side of the apprenticeship, where you've always got some guidance, is probably the most invaluable thing in this whole discussion. So if I was, as I said, if I was start again, I'll be trying to get an apprenticeship. If you can't find one, don't rule it out. Just try and contact those companies and get involved somehow else. which then might lead into it. So that's it. Hopefully that's been quite helpful for you. If you want to watch more kind of videos on this topic, on how to become a tree surgeon or how much anything, just let me know in the comments what kind of thing that you want to know, and I'll do my best to try and share that with you. Please give us a subscribe. I think that's what you're meant to ask to do, and see you on the next one. Cheers.